what's up all of you beautiful subscribers? I'm Jack Chapple, and today we're talking about the best financial decisions that you can make today. All right? And so these are decisions that I personally live by. And you know what? Let's just jump right into this here. So the very first one is very important, especially for a lot of you young people out there who, majority of you live in the United States or Canada. So, and you know, UK, Europe, and so on. So, and that is, well, bad debt. All right. So this applies to a few specific areas. So the very first one that I always talk about, which is terrible degrees for university and college. So I've made tons of videos, but you can check out about, is college or university worth it? Some cases yes, some cases no. It's becoming less and less worth it as we go through time because there's more meaningless degrees, and some degrees are becoming less useful, I guess, with new technology and automation and so on. Some are becoming more useful, but click on that video if you want that breakdown. But anyways, so bad debt, if you were to go to school in the United States, you might be paying 40 grand a year in tuition. Sometimes I've seen almost 40 grand a semester in some cases, and that's a lot of money, especially if you're going there needing student loans. And if you were to take on, let's just say even $20,000 per year, and maybe you get a job you can pay off a little bit. Let's say you have 50 grand, 60 grand in student debt. You graduate, but your degree is in something that is useless. All right, relatively not useful to the job market. This could be something like, it could be any like history. All right, if you have a major in history, there's not a lot of jobs out there for historians out there. All right, that used to be a job hundreds of years ago. Today, not so much. All right, so that's just one example. But, there could be some things that you could do with that degree, like you can start a history YouTube channel and so on, but that's a whole different story. So, again, bad debt, we're talking like degrees, student loans. So degrees, student loans, we're talking credit cards too, so CC. We're talking credit cards. Credit cards have some of the highest interest rates in the world, because credit cards are pretty much a loan. They're an advance of money. If you miss your payment, that interest rate's about 22% per year, I think, in Canada. I don't know what it is in the United States, but 22% is what? That's 5 times higher than the average mortgage percentage loan. That's a lot of money. So stay away from credit card debt if you can. If you need to, sometimes, as I always say, emergencies, sometimes people get behind. I get it. Okay, I get it if you are behind on your credit cards. That happens. I've been behind on my credit cards. I get it. All right, but credit cards, try to stay away from those. And just try to stay away from like high-end anything. High-end cars, for example. Anything where you need to take out a loan because you can't afford it and it's super expensive, you probably shouldn't be buying it in the first place. All right, if you're making 50 grand a year, you probably should not be buying a high-end car for the most part, unless you get a good deal on it, and it's used and you buy it straight up and you have a lot of cash, you saved a lot. Okay, that's different. If you're taking out a loan to buy like a high-end car or just auto loans in general, why are you buying that new car? What do you think is the advantage of buying a 2020 Mazda whatever versus buying a 2009, 2010 Mazda with, 50,000 miles on it? Even though there are a little bit of advantages, sometimes the older ones do break down a little bit more. But if you're able to get that 2010 Mazda for a few $1,000s, $2,000, $3,000 versus the $30,000 new one, why are you getting the new one? Is it because you want to keep up appearances? What is it? So stay away from those things, high-end cars. All right, next one. Let's move on to the next best decision for next best financial decision is investing. So let's just say you have no debt or have very little debt. Investing, one of the best decisions that you can make. So this is the two ones that I always talk about, stocks and real estate. There's also just investing in startups, other businesses, but stocks and real estate are the easiest ones to get into, in my opinion. Stocks specifically, because you can do it right now if you want to. You sign up for Robinhood in the United States, sign up for another investing app in your country, and Again, you can just start investing and it accumulates over time. And if you invest and reinvest, there might be ups and downs, but you hold on to it, make good investments, safe investments, like I always tell you about. Eventually, your portfolio grows over time, and maybe you only put in, after 50 years, if you invest well, maybe you've only put in $150,000 into that account, but because it's been able to grow over time, maybe it's worth $500,000 now because of interest, reinvestment, and so on. So, investing in the stock market, awesome decision. Same with real estate. Awesome decision too. Real estate comes with tax write-offs, and you also get cash flow with real estate. Unlike with stocks, real estate cash flow can be significant. We're talking hundreds of dollars every month for one property or for one unit. For one property, it could be even thousands of dollars in some cases. And you get cash flow. Stocks, you get a little bit of cash with dividends, but it's not as much as real estate. And with real estate, you can also leverage 4x. 20% down payment, you get 4 times yes. You get 4x. You can leverage 4x and the government backs it. All right, that's really insane. With stocks, if you leverage yourself, so you're just borrowing money, that's what that means. You're borrowing money. You can't really borrow that much. There's a lending limit for a lot of beginner investors out there of 1-to-1, meaning that you can only, for every $50 you invest, you can borrow $50. All right, in real estate, it's like you put in $50 for the down payment, you get back, what is that, $200 or $150 the federal government puts up, $200, all right? Or the mortgage company, mortgage company. But backed by the federal, that's a whole different story. Okay, investing, again, that is number 2. Now, these are in no specific order, by the way, so I'm not saying investing is more important than the bad debt or bad debt's more important than, So these are in no order, but let's keep going. Learning every day. Every day, bro. It's every day, bro. Okay. So, oh God. Anyways, so learning every day, bro. I think that one of the biggest and best decisions that I've made since I was a kid. And this is something that you can do even if there's some young people out there listening to this. If you're 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old, 14, or even 35, 50 years old, however old you are listening to this, learning every day is probably the biggest thing maybe for me on this list personally. Because the amount of skills that I've developed even since starting this YouTube channel or starting my last YouTube channel, the Science Channel, I've been able, during the last 4 years, I became an expert programmer. I've learned how to talk and become kind of a public speaker. I've learned a lot about real estate. Did I start real estate 5 years ago, 4 years ago? Probably around there, so I learned a lot about real estate since that time. I've learned a lot. I learned how to do videos and animations, and I think learning and keeping your mind stimulated and acquiring new skills is probably the best financial decision that you can probably make, whether you're an entrepreneur or you want to be an employee. Either one is okay. If you're an entrepreneur, all of a sudden you have the skill set. If you keep learning, you have a skill set. You need a skill set for sales and marketing and, maybe tech sometimes. And maybe you want to learn how to program your own website or maybe you want to learn how to talk and properly on camera and public speaking, whatever it may be. Learning new skills can be a really awesome financial decision for an entrepreneur. If you want to especially, I guess if you just want to run a company and start a company, it's really important to keep learning every day. Mark Cuban always says this all the time. If he's not learning, he's like wasting his life. So every day he wakes up, he doesn't read a book a day, but he reads a lot every day. And for me, I like to listen. I like to do audiobooks and podcasts. That's my thing. I do read some books now and then, but audiobooks, that's my thing. So however you want to learn, courses, whatever it may be, audiobooks, podcasts, physical books, newspapers, if those are still a thing in your area, then go do that. Learn new skills. That's one of the best things you could do. Because if you're an employee, bringing this back to an employee, the more skills you have, the more attractive you become to a boss, to an employer. The more skills you have, the better it is. So for example, I'll give you this example. All things being equal, you're applying for a marketing job, all right? So you have someone who's very specialized in marketing. Let's say you're specialized in marketing. Personality relatively relatively same age, background, all that stuff. Difference is you know how to sell a little bit and you're a better communicator, just a little bit, because you learned how to talk a little bit from whatever, learn public speaking course, whatever it is. So you're a little bit better. You can do a little bit more for the company. you can have additional roles. All things being equal, you're more valuable than this person, than the person who only knows the marketing. So, and potentially that could be a skill. And if you have enough skills, you could rank up in the company and work your way up, get higher positions, or ask for more money, get recruited to other companies. I made a bunch of videos on that. Go check those out. So learning every day, super vital. And I did, that whole video I did was, if you're able to be 1% better every year, I think it's 1% better. You have 3% better. No, if you're 3% better or 4% better every year than your rival person in this being recruited for the same position, then over time, if you can command that extra 3 or 4% salary, by the time you're 50 years old, you're going to be making almost double what you would have earned if you did not do anything and did not learn those new skills. So that's only if you're 3 or 4% better. All right. So that's a whole video. I think it's called the butterfly wealth effect. Go check that out. Next one. Frugality. Frugality. This is something I live by for the most part, which is no matter how much money you make, and I've made a lot, I made a little, relatively my lifestyle stays the same. Whether I'm making a bunch of money or not a lot of money, I really don't go on vacations. I don't really spend money on anything. My biggest expense still to this day is fast food, and not like high-end fast food. We're talking McDonald's. That's my biggest really expense that I've splurged on, is McDonald's. Now, I'm not saying I used to buy video games and things along those lines, but for the most part, I spend within my means. Usually, if I get a little bit behind, it's because it's a business expense. Much different. Sometimes you're spending money to actually try to grow your company, learn a little bit more, that's okay. But if you're spending money, let's say you make 30 grand a year, and so you're living like you make 30 grand a year. If you make 100 grand a year, you should try living like you're making 30 grand a year. Still, try to save up money, take home that extra 70K minus taxes, so 50K wherever you live. Use that money, invest it, live frugal for 10 years, put that 50K in the bank for 10 years, you have a $500,000 portfolio. All of a sudden, you can do whatever you want with that. You can continue growing it over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, maybe you become a multimillionaire with that, just from those 10 years of being frugal. All right. So living frugally, and that brings up the whole thing about like how you typically see a lot of doctors just barely getting by because they like to keep up with the Joneses. So if they make $200,000 a year, they like to spend $190. They like to have the fancy car or the big house. And I get the appeal. If you want to splurge, that's okay. But you should be living more within your means and saving up a little bit more if you can. All right, let's move on to the next one. This one I've learned recently. Like I always knew this was a thing. I wasn't going to put this on here. But if you're an entrepreneur, this is big. And this has kind of been a growing period for me recently. I like to kind of share with you guys the lessons that I've learned as I'm going through this, as someone who has done pretty much everything you can do. E-commerce, delivery, I've started my own companies, courses, stock market investing, shipping stuff all over the world, real estate, whatever it is, consulting, I've done everything. And this is very important that I've been learning recently, is that to grow, this is important, is networking. And this has really changed things for me recently, positively, is reaching out to people and asking them, either asking if I can help them or if they can help me, asking if they want to collaborate, asking, just ask, reach out if you can. Networking to people that are both above you in terms of, wisdom or, financial status or work at, whatever it may be, above you and whatever you want to learn, and below you too. So typically a lot of people, especially, they say to hang out with people who are pretty much always better than you. Like better, I'm trying to think of a better way of putting this, but someone who is slightly ahead of you in whatever your goal is. So if you are just solely about making money, hang out with people that are making more money than you. That's typically what people say. But I kind of think just hang out with people that have the same interests and network with people with the same interests. So whether someone is making less money than you, more money than you, whatever, it's good to have those connections. And maybe the person who was on top, maybe they drop below and all of a sudden they need your help, or maybe the person who was below you, who you helped out, all of a sudden they get to super success and now they can help you out and you grow together. And this is something that I've been learning. Everyone should try to network. I say find a mentor, but I think networking is the better word here. I don't even like the word networking. I like the word socializing, not even socializing. You guys can think of a better word for me, but connecting with people, connecting with others in your field in a positive manner where everyone can try to grow together and learn from each other. I've learned that that's a big thing recently, and I'm not in a mastermind or whatever trying to get you to buy anything, right? This is just something that I've personally learned. I haven't joined any, but physically emailing people and going up to meet with them and talking with them that has helped me learn and just help promote my business, promote their businesses, and so on. So I think networking, getting out there is a really good financial decision because in the long term, all of a sudden you have all these connections. Maybe you want to branch out to someone can help you out, whatever it may be. It helps. And so if you're an employee, this may apply a little bit less to you, but maybe not. If you're an employee and you're reaching out to other people, different companies, how many people do you know that have gotten a job because they know someone? Or have given you a job because you're a friend of a friend? I bet you every single one of you watching this right now has a friend of a friend, has a friend who has gotten a job through a friend. Every one of you. So I think that that's an important thing regardless of whether you're looking for jobs or trying to grow your own company. It's important to network and connect with others. So those are the best financial decisions that I have learned. Now, what are yours? Let me know in the comments down below what yours are. And I have tons of other videos on finance and personal finance, so check those out. I have playlists. Check those out on my channel, my financial videos. And so please subscribe down below, by the way. I love all your faces, and I love you subscribers. So if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe down below, and please click on the next video, because I want to talk to you more. So I guess I'll just see you in the next video you click on.